Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Ukraine survivors tell of their time underground and eventual escape from Mariupol'S at Azovstal steelworks 5 stories below the besieged at Azovstal steelworks. Ukrainian soldiers told Nataliya Babeush she had a few minutes to prepare to escape the underground bunker she called home for more than 2 months. What was meant to be a short-term shelter soon became a trap, and the focus of the fiercest fighting in the war. The 35-year-old grabbed little more than a handful of children's drawings, some sketches of flowers and food that had helped to cheer dozens of civilians who had sheltered for weeks in one corner of the vast, dimly lit concrete warren. "I'll keep them as long as I can," she told Reuters, speaking after a humanitarian convoy brought her on Sunday to the city of Zaporizhzhia in southeast Ukraine. Ms Babeush and hundreds of others had sought refuge in the enormous complex beneath the Azovstal plant soon after Russia invaded Ukraine in the early hours of February 24 and laid siege to the port city of Mariupol. She saw the plant as a short-term shelter before a retreat to safety elsewhere. Instead, the refuge became a trap as Azovstal became the focus of the fiercest fighting in the war. Like a mole in the dark, Reuters spoke to 4 evacuees from the plant who spent weeks underground in dark, dank conditions enduring bombardment in one of the steelworks' numerous bunkers. They described how the group of strangers was bonded by a need to survive, to ration food and keep their spirits up, as Russian forces drew closer. "Every second was hellish. It's very scary underground, to be underground like moles in the dark," said 51-year-old nurse Valentyna Demyanchuk. Russia has strongly denied targeting civilians in the conflict, which it calls a special military operation to demilitarize Ukraine. Authorities in Kyiv say thousands of civilians have been killed in Mariupol and has accused Moscow of war crimes. Space to play or pause, M to mute, left and right arrows to seek, up and down arrows for volume. Russia's defense ministry and Ukraine's government did not respond to a request for comment on the women's testimony. All 4 women described being woken up before dawn on the first day of the war by the bombardment of Mariupol. Accountant Larisa Solop, 49, fled her apartment in the east of the city when fighting drew near. She hoped to meet her daughter's family on the other side of town, but there was no cell phone reception. "Lots of buildings were burning, and shells whistled overhead," she said. As an evening curfew neared, she realized her only hope was to shelter in nearby Azovstal, just a stopover. 2 months later, she would be one of the last civilians to be evacuated on May 6 from the plant by the United Nations and International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC. A tin of meat paste. Most of the roughly 40 people sharing Ms Solop's shelter arrived in early March. Many had just the clothes on their backs, others brought a few belongings and a bag or 2 of canned goods, pasta, porridge or potatoes, the women said. Ms Babeush, a former plant worker, became the main cook, stirring pots of soup on a wood-burning stove in the concrete story above their bunker. "The kids called her Auntie Soup," said Ms Demyanchuk, laughing ruefully. "The group ate 1 meal a day," she said. A strike knocked out all power supplies in early March, after which the group was plunged into darkness. They started rationing candles, while some of the men fashioned little torches from banks of industrial lighting that could run on individual batteries. As the bombing intensified, some people attempted to leave but didn't reach the perimeter of the complex before returning to the shelter, the women said. "Planes from the sea were bombing so much that we couldn't even get outside," said Ms Solop, recalling her elderly father being knocked off his feet in the bunker by the force of a blast. As a distraction, Ms Babeush encouraged the 8 children in the group to decorate workers' helmets. She made a robot costume out of a box with holes cut out of for eyes and organized a drawing competition at Orthodox Easter. Everyone voted and the first prize was a tin of meat paste. Her favorite drawing was of a pizza with lovingly detailed strings of melted cheese. But privately, Ms Babeush had given up hope. She wrote her parents' phone numbers inside her jacket in case she died in the bunker. "I didn't think we'd get out. For life, You need people you can rely on. Ms Demyanchuk, her husband, son and elderly mother were among the first to make a break for it. Weary of the shelling, they decided to try their luck on foot on March 26, even though her mother needed 2 walking sticks and had to be carried part of the way. The food was running out and we were tired of sitting underground, Ms Demyanchuk said by phone from central Ukraine in early May. As Russian forces step up their assault on